Hi, welcome back to Advanced Weekly Update.
Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. It's Monday afternoon. Hope you had a great lunch. What did you have for lunch, David?
What did I have for lunch? I had Vietnamese beef soup.
Okay.
The pho.
Nice.
Yeah, the pho
soup. That sounds good.
From a place down the street in Tha is a Vietnamese place. It's on Tha Jiet, right? Next to the 7-Eleven, next to the ramen shop.
That's right. So
it's really good.
Vietnamese food. That's great for this weather because it's getting warmer, right? So I had some leftover quinoa bowl that my wife made. I had some chicken and some vegetables, and it was delicious.
Oh, that sounds real good.
But we have a lot to talk about this week in Advanced, and
we sure do.
We have a historical article that we start the week off. It's a bit different than normal, right? And we're going on like a shipwreck tour.
Yes, I was talking to Brandon about this article earlier about how it would have been nice on the radio program for this article if we had some sailor songs.
Oh yeah, I don't know any sailor songs.
Oh, the year was 1770. Oh, I wish I was and sure would not.
Next time.
Okay.
The next time we have a shipwreck article, you can do that. It might be a while.
Might be a while. But this article is actually about the incredible history of the Great Lakes. Apparently at that time, they were almost like super highways. Super highways are like, you know, like the Kaohsiung, like the really important roads where... Expressways, where you can take products that are made in Kaohsiung and take them the whole way up to Taipei, right, really quickly by trucks. It's important for commercial purposes. Back then, they didn't have planes, they didn't have trucks, they had boats.
But unfortunately, some of the ships didn't make it to their final destination, right? They sunk to the bottom of the lake. It's a lake. They're called the Great Lakes. They're in Michigan and also at the border of Wisconsin. And I guess Canada's right there, of course, to the north. They're huge.
They're really
Actually, I went to one of these once before. Have you ever been to one of the Great Lakes?
Yes. I thought it just looked like the ocean.
Exactly.
It just looked like the ocean.
There was even a beach there.
Yeah. The sand, they bring that from somewhere else.
Yeah, but I remember a friend from college who was from Michigan. He would tell me that like there were waves and there was like sand and a beach. I'm like, no way, it's not an ocean. But sure enough, I went there and it looked like the ocean.
It does, yeah. But it's not salt water, so it is a very different experience.
It is a lake.
Yeah.
A great one.
But so that got us thinking a little bit about history, history of places. Because if you go to Michigan, Wisconsin, these areas that border the Great Lakes, there's this incredible history of these, that you can see in the form of shipwrecks that people scuba dive down to see. But that also got us thinking about what about the history in our own places.
Yeah, so you're from Pennsylvania.
That's right.
What city are you from in Pennsylvania?
I am from the city of Lancaster in Pennsylvania. Now, Lancaster has a lot of history to it, right? But so one thing musically, all right. So music in Pennsylvania. What's the history? Well, there are these mountains called the Appalachian Mountains, and in these mountains there are people who have lived there for many years. Many of them were coal miners. Some of them had relationships with the Native Americans, and they're very down deep, and they have their own form of folk music.
Oh, folk music.
Yeah.
That makes sense in the mountains, right? Folk music.
Yeah.
Cool.
And another cool thing about Pennsylvania, another cool history thing, is that back during the time where slavery was legal in the United States, the slaves from the South, the African slaves, when they were trying to escape up north, before, at the very beginning, they had to escape the whole way to Canada. But later on, there was a rule where there was areas in the north where there was no slavery and areas in the south where there was. And back during that time, using a special secret road called the Underground Railroad, the African slaves on the East Coast would make their way to Philadelphia, which is in Pennsylvania, and that's where they would be able to finally rest, because they had escaped to freedom.
That is a really cool story, and maybe some of you have heard of the Underground Railroad before. That is a big part of American history, and a big part of Pennsylvania history. So famous your home state, and then also your hometown. We talked about music. There are so many famous places, right? All across the world and in the U.S. I'm from near the city of Memphis, and it's famous for music as well. In fact, the whole state is famous for music.
It's true.
In different ways. So I'm from near the city of Memphis, and if you're familiar with Elvis Presley, that's right there. He is from Memphis, and you can visit his home there. People come from all over the world, actually, to visit his home. I've actually never been.
You never been?
but people come all over from all over the world.
It's called Graceland.
It's called
very
Graceland.
famous.
Yes, our teacher Andrea is a big fan of Graceland and Elvis, so you can ask her about that. But it's famous for that, and it's also famous for this food called barbecue, in particular pulled pork.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so happy that it's made its way to Taipei. There's a few pulled pork places around, and they're really good. So they even have a festival every May. It's called Memphis in May, where you can try different barbecue, and they have a contest. And so food and music, the blues, it's also famous for rhythm and blues there in Memphis. There's a famous street called Bill Street. So lots of music heritage, and country music, of course, in Nashville is a huge part. So there's lots of famous stuff there. And we want to ask you actually about what's famous in your hometown. Right?
That's right. What is famous in your hometown? Here in Taiwan, wherever you go, there are so many different places where you go there, you talk to the locals, where should I eat? What should I eat? And they say, oh, go here, it's famous. Go there, it's famous. I know that in Jiayi, there's a place where you can eat this fish soup. Fish head soup. It's very famous. It was on TV, right?
Wow.
There are places all around in Taipei, right, where people might say, oh, go to this place, it's famous. We want to ask you guys, what is famous? What is something that is famous in your home?
That's our question of the week. It will come up on the screen, and we'll have a poll for you in just a moment. But right now, the question of the week will come up, asking you about what is famous in your hometown. Let us know in the comments below. There's so many things in Taiwan. I feel like, David, people are often telling me this is famous and that is famous. I cannot keep track with all of the famous dongshi, right? So please let us know what's famous in your area.
What's the last famous thing you went to in Taipei? Or in Taiwan?
Oh, the last famous thing I went to in Taiwan.
Like, someone said, hey, go here, it's famous.
Probably did something yesterday, I didn't know it. I don't know. That's a good question, but what comes to mind, it wasn't that recent, but I love to talk about it. I went to the Chime Museum in Tainan.
Oh, okay.
That was so awesome, and I'm sure that's famous because it's amazing, right? I mean, I felt like I was dropped off in the middle of Europe somewhere. It was just this magnificent museum. I don't know if I said it right there, but you probably know what I'm talking about, and it's beautiful. It's amazing, and of course, there's lots of famous food there as well.
Yes, there is so much good famous food. I'm thinking, so what's the last place I went to that was really famous? There was this one time I went to a night market called Nanjichang. And it's near, where is it? It's kind of near like Wuting area where I used to live. You get off at Wuting and then you walk a little ways. And it was this very, different from other night markets I've been to, where they're kind of very commercial, not in a bad way, just night markets are popular, they show up on travel shows and they draw tourists. This place though is
because they're famous.
Because they're famous. But this place is it's very local. It was just like lots of, mostly just food, no clothes or anything. And I found this one little shop. It was with my roommate at the time. He was Canadian, or he's still Canadian, but we're not roommates anymore. And it's one little shop. And he was with his friend who's Taiwanese, who said, oh, I have to take you guys to this place to eat some cho tofu. And we're like, oh, all right, we'll try it. We're being adventurous. And I just remember as we're walking towards the place, the smell was getting stronger and stronger, and we get there. And I walk into the restaurant, I almost passed out, and because it was so cho, But then we got it, I ate it, I took a bite, and I was like, this is amazing. It was actually amazing.
So you're a cho tofu fan?
That was what sold me on it. That's what sold me on it, for sure.
All right, so get you some famous cho tofu over in the Guting area.
That's right. And I think we have some results from our...
Yeah, we have a poll up too. We're asking you where you'd like to go to visit. Would you like to go to a historical site? Would you like to go shopping? Or would you like to just go out in nature? And we thought about putting food on here, but we know everyone wants to eat delicious food, so that would skew the results. And it looks like we have 67% of people saying they're going to go shopping.
67% want to go shopping.
Would you fall into that category, David?
No, but a lot of people that I know would fall into that category.
I wouldn't fall into that category really either.
Yeah. Actually, fun fact, another Lancaster fact, one of the most popular things for particularly Asian tourists to do when they come to Pennsylvania is go to the outlet malls.
Not the Amish grocery stores?
No, believe it or not, that is not the big one. It's the outlets. They go to the outlets, they buy a bunch of brand name stuff for super cheap, and then they ship it back.
Oh, got it.
Back home.
There you go. You want to go shopping? Now we're up to, it's down to 50%. All right.
Okay.
So what are the other ones? I can't quite see them. Can you pull them up the screen? We can't see them, but hopefully you can see them. I would choose an historical site.
I would probably choose a historical site as well.
Speaking of Tainan, earlier I was talking about that. There's a lot of historical sites there that I love. I love going to the forts and all of that stuff. And I love that in Europe, all the castles and stuff. When I visited the UK, the castles built in like the 1200s. I'm like, what? That's crazy.
It's like hundreds of years old. Yeah. We're Americans. Our country is only
it's not that old, right?
years old, right?
Yeah. So anyway, well, we are all out of time. We hope that you are able to travel somewhere cool really soon. Maybe it's not for shopping or nature or historical site. Maybe it's for some other reason, but we hope that you are able to get out and about and enjoy that.
That's right. God bless all of you. Have a fantastic afternoon. Stay safe and share some love with the people around.
That's right. See you guys next week right here at 1 o'clock.
That's right.
On Monday next week.
That's good stuff. That feels good. All right.
All right, thanks.
Catch you.